So now, we'll put this all together. All right, so God reconciled us to him in spite of our sin. In spite of our sin. He didn't count our sin against us. Isn't that great news? That's great news, isn't it? In spite of our sin, we're reconciled to God. Now, the not so great news. He expects us to do the same thing for one another. That we would reconcile to one another in spite of our sin. But you know what? Again, that's not good news because we are alienated from family members because of their sin. It's because of what they did to me that I'm alienated. It's because of what they didn't give me. It's because of the fact that they walked out on me that we're alienated and we cut them off in the first place. It's because of the fact they didn't give me what I needed emotionally. It's because they were selfish. It's because they were abrasive or abusive. It's because they had abandoned me. It's because they hurt me. It's because they offended me. It's because they didn't give me what I wanted or didn't act the way I wanted. It's because I wasn't getting what I wanted that we no longer have relationship. But listen, in the same way that God reconciled us to himself in spite of our sin, we are to be reconciled with each other in spite of their sin and mistakes. And we say, no. It's because of. And so we need to really think through what we're saying here when we live this way. When we receive oneness with God and reconciliation with God in spite of our sin, and we receive that grace, but we live our lives with one another, we say, you know what? But I can't forgive them because of. I can't have a relationship with them because of. What we're saying is that we have a higher standard than God. And maybe God can overlook sin, but I can't. And we're receiving something from God that we're unwilling to give to one another. And we tell ourselves, you know what? I don't care. But you do care. Because you were created to care. Let's look at these commandments, these powerful statements, and just this one short passage we just looked at. God gave us the ministry of reconciliation. Paul goes on. He has committed to us the message of reconciliation. And again, we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. I mean, could it be any more clear? His love compelled him to do something hard for us. And he did it in spite of our sin. And now we no longer live for ourselves, but we live for him who died for us. And his love now compels us to be reconciled with one another in spite of their sin. Now, again, I know this is hard, and I know there's probably lots of reasons you can think of as to why we shouldn't do that or why particularly you shouldn't do that. You know, maybe you're telling yourself, you know what, it sounds good on paper, but it just wouldn't work. If you knew my situation, you would know it just won't work. And I would say, you may be right. You know what? Jesus knew that when he gave his life for us, it wouldn't work for everybody. That only certain people, only some people would receive the gift that he was dying to give them. And others would say, no, that's not going to work for me. But he did it anyway. And so as we tell ourselves it just may not work, well, it didn't work for Jesus either. And more than that, I would say, you know what? I think it will work. It may not work for the other person, but I believe it will do a work in you. As you begin to reconcile with the people around you, something's going to happen inside of you. The Spirit of God is going to move, and you're going to feel things breaking free in your heart that you've maybe had a log jam, and you're going to experience God's Spirit working in you. Others may say, well, you know what? The issues between me and this person are so complicated. You know what? It would take years to work through all those issues, and so I just don't think that this is going to work for us. But you know what? This isn't about resolving issues. This is about just reconnecting relationally. Maybe the issues need to be ignored, like forever. Maybe you'll never get to working through the issues. It's just about sending that first email. Hey, how are you doing? I've been thinking about you. Sending that first card, maybe a picture of your family. You know, you've been on my mind. It's just about making that connection. Again, the issues may not get resolved. This isn't about working out the issues. Jesus did not work out the issues with us before he reconciled us to himself. He reconciles us to himself, and then the issues slowly over a lifetime get worked out. Or finally, another common objective would be, you know what? If I reestablish a relationship with that person, while they're doing what they're doing and living the way they're living and making the choices that they're making, I will be condoning what they're doing and how they're living. Or I will be condoning their action and how they hurt me. And so if I don't demand an apology from them before reconciling, I'm condoning their action. But you know that's not true. You know, how many people do you hang out with that you agree with everything they do? You know, we have relationships with people, we don't agree with things that they do. Doesn't mean we're condoning it. As a matter of fact, Jesus hung out with lots of people. He didn't condone what they did. He didn't accept their behavior, but he accepted them and he loved them and he was in relationship with them. And so if you will reestablish relationship with people that maybe you don't think they're doing what they're not doing what you think they should be doing, you will be more like Jesus than you even thought possible. Because that's exactly what he did.